You know, when we think about a coral reef, we picture these incredible, vibrant structures teeming with fish. But it turns out the real secret to their survival and their biggest weakness is in a world that's totally invisible, a hidden universe of microscopic partners that we're only just starting to understand.
Okay, let's just start with a number. A really big, scary number. 70 to 90%.
Yeah, you heard that right. That's how many of the world's coral reefs scientists are telling us we could lose. And get this, that's even if we manage to hit our most ambitious climate goals. We're not just talking about the ocean losing some of its color. We're talking about the potential collapse of entire ecosystems that are home to a third of all marine life. So, the big question is, how do we help the ones that are left hang on? Well, the answer might be hiding in plain sight. To really get at the potential solution, we've got to rethink what a coral even is. See, it's not just a single animal. It's more like a bustling microscopic city with all sorts of different organisms living and working together. And this is the word you need to know, the holobiont. It's a fancy term, but the idea is pretty simple. Think of it less like one creature and more like a superorganism. The coral animal itself is kind of like the landlord who builds the apartment building, but it's the tenants, all the microbes, that really run the place. So let's meet the residents. So first you have the coral animal, the architect building the physical structure we see. Living right inside its tissues are tiny symbiotic algae. They're the power plants, using sunlight to make food for the coral. And then you've got the support crew, a huge, diverse community of bacteria and viruses that do all the essential odd jobs to keep the city running. And what's really fascinating is how the coral's body creates all these different neighborhoods for its microbes. You've got the sticky mucus on the very surface, which is like the first line of defense. Then there are the outer and inner layers of tissue, and even the rocky skeleton itself. Each of these zones is a unique little habitat, hosting a totally different crew of specialized bacteria. This incredible complexity is the key to how the whole system works so well. Okay, so what are all these specialized bacteria actually doing down there? Well, it turns out they're performing jobs that are absolutely essential for the coral to survive, especially in the clear, nutrient-poor waters where you usually find reefs. I mean, just look at this partnership. It's a masterclass in teamwork. This bacterial support crew is working 24/7. They pull essential nutrients like nitrogen out of the water to act as fertilizer. They cook up B vitamins that the coral and its algae can't make on their own. They even act as a tiny security force, producing compounds that fight off harmful germs. It's just an incredible alliance. And that is the secret sauce. This microscopic partnership is the engine that allows these tiny little animals to build colossal structures. Structures so big you can see them from space. Without their bacterial buddies, corals just wouldn't be able to do it. But this amazing alliance is also really, really fragile. You see, all the environmental changes that we're causing are putting this ancient partnership under a ton of stress. And when the system gets stressed, that delicate microbiome balance can be thrown into complete chaos. So a healthy coral has a stable, balanced microbiome where all the helpful microbes are in charge. But under stress, the coral host starts to lose its grip. This leads to a state called dysbiosis, basically an imbalance where troublemaking bacteria start to take over and all those essential jobs we just saw stop getting done. Visually, a healthy microbiome looks something like this. You have lots of mutualists, those are the good guys, keeping everything running smoothly. And the opportunists, the potential troublemakers, are kept at really low, manageable levels. But when you stress a coral out, look what happens. The whole thing flips on its head. The good guys decline, and the opportunists see their chance and just explode in number. This is bad news. This dysbiosis makes the coral way more vulnerable to disease and that awful bleaching we've all seen pictures of. And what's causing all this stress? Well, it's the usual suspects, the all too familiar symptoms of our changing planet. The biggest one is ocean warming, but you've also got acidification, pollution running off from land, and falling oxygen levels, all piling on and helping to break this critical alliance. Okay, so that's a lot of doom and gloom, but this is where the science gets really, really interesting. If a broken microbiome is a key part of the problem, could fixing it be part of the solution? This is the question that's driving a ton of research right now. And it's a powerful idea, right? What if we could actually step in, perform a kind of microbial therapy to help corals fight back against stress? And the idea is exactly what it sounds like. We're all familiar with probiotics for our own health. Well, scientists are now developing special blends of beneficial microbes just for corals. One of the coolest methods is called microbial transfer therapy, and the game plan makes a lot of sense. First, you go out and find the corals that are doing surprisingly well, the ones that are naturally tough against heat. Then, you collect the communities of good bacteria that seem to be helping them out. The next step is to introduce this beneficial cocktail to more vulnerable corals, basically giving their microbiome a complete reboot with a healthier team. Now, the goal here isn't to artificially prop up every coral on the planet forever. It's about giving them a fighting chance. By helping restore a healthy microbiome, these treatments could help corals survive the heat waves that cause bleaching in the first place, or help them bounce back faster if they do bleach. So this research definitely offers a glimmer of hope, but scientists are being very realistic. This is not a magic cure-all. There are some huge challenges we have to figure out before this can become a solution we can use at a large scale. For starters, how in the world do you take a treatment that works in a lab and apply it to an entire reef? Do the positive effects even last, or would you have to keep reapplying it? We also have to remember that every coral species is different, every reef is different, so a one-size-fits-all probiotic probably won't cut it. And of course, you have to be incredibly careful not to accidentally cause some new problem in the ecosystem. But as the researchers behind this work put it, we really don't have the luxury of time anymore. The crisis is so urgent that we have to try and develop these kinds of active interventions while we continue to learn the basic science. We have to do both at once. And let's be crystal clear about this final point. Coral probiotics are not a silver bullet. They are not a replacement for taking real, meaningful action on climate change. The best way to think of them is like emergency medicine, a critical tool to buy our reefs some precious time, to help them hold on while we get our act together and fix the root cause of the problem. When you get right down to it, the breakdown of this ancient, millions of years old partnership between corals and their microbes, well, that's on us. We broke it. The challenge now is to see if our science and our ingenuity can help put the pieces back together before it's too late.